Hey everybody, happy Friday. It's Christina. Maybe if my microphone is working. Can you hear me now? All right, let me put that in a safe spot. Okay. Now I need to make sure that we are live in the Facebook group. Give me just a moment. Ooh, some people are here. Okay. And work now. And work now. Okay, we're live. And who's here? I can see comments. Susie's here. Happy Friday, Susie. Michelle is here. Happy Friday, Michelle. Thank you. Okay, so this shirt, let me know if the video is messing up because I just reformatted my hard drive and got a new hard drive. So let's see. Leonie's here. Could you let me know if the video's frozen? I'm gonna have to edit part of this video out. Let's try this again. Okay, we're good to go. I'll just edit out the first part of this video before I stick it on YouTube. Okay. All right, so this shirt is one of the shirts that we'll be giving away for the 500 member giveaway. You can pick different colors. I have like a whole bunch of styles of shirts and different colors that you can pick. But this is it's got the unicorn and it's got the do magic. And then there's also the large coffee or teacup that I'll be giving out. We're almost there. I think we're at like 497. So we're like right there. It'll probably happen by the end of this weekend. Thank you, Charlene. Charlene says she loves the shirt. Okay, good. So the stream's fine. Before we get started, I wanted to give a shout out to Rachel Arazo. She joined my masterclass like 2 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago now. And some of you were at the workshop today. She just launched her first course. Her first course is all about how to read tarot intuitively. And to celebrate that launch, she did a free workshop today, which she absolutely freaking nailed it. It was so much fun. We got to pull cards, and it was like a group reading experience, and it was all about the shadow side, and like it was just a lot of fun. It was like an hour long. So if you're not in her group, you want to go over to her group and watch the replay. It's Tarot and Tea. So check her workshop out if you haven't already done so. I know she's even already got people signed up for her course after her workshop, so just like seriously, a round of applause for Rachel. She's just star student. She's doing a great job. Charlene says, "Are those new bangs?" I got a wild hair up my butt last night, and I was like, okay, so I don't want to spend too much time on like personal stuff because I have a lot to talk about today. But at the same time, let's talk about hair for a second. So I've been, a lot of you know I've been in school. Okay, I've been doing school things. I'm in school for tax law. I'm learning how to do tax preparation for small business. Well, I'm in level 1, let's just say. I had midterms this week and I passed and everything's really good. Everything's going great. So I've just been having like no personal time, right? Like, and it just takes, when you have hair as long as I do, I mean, it just takes so long. So usually what I've been doing is, I'll shower and wash my hair the night before, and then in the morning I'll kind of fix it. And I was having like a crisis this week where I kind of wanted to just chop it all off. I kind of wanted to just cut it off to like right there so I could just get up in the morning and blow dry it really quickly. So I made a compromise with myself. I said, okay, if you if you can cut off some bangs and if you can just have some bangs for a little while and just see how that goes, like kind of ease into it before just whacking it off. Then this is like, I'm just kind of testing things out. I'm just kind of testing things out, see how the bangs go. I cut them last night, and if I get a little bit like brave, I might take some inches. I might take some inches off, but I'm not sure. We'll see. I'm still kind of debating it. I've been growing my hair. The story behind my hair, again, more personal tangents, but the story behind my hair is I used to have my hair shaved. I had a number 2 up the back, and then the top was all spiky, and I had like long side bangs. I wore my hair like that for years. It was so nice because I would just get up and put some gel in my hair, blow dry it, put some putty in it, texture putty, and be out the door within like 10 minutes. Lip gloss, little eyeliner, mascara. When I got married, I made a commitment to myself. I said, you know what? I'm going to start growing my hair out. The day I got married, I decided I'm not going to cut my hair anymore. And I haven't done that. And that was 2012. So that's the story behind my hair, is like a kind of like a symbol testament to my marriage. I think it's sweet. My husband couldn't care less, but that's just how it is. Thank you, Faith. I appreciate that. Okay, so enough about me. Happy full moon in Taurus, by the way. Anytime we have a full moon or a new moon in Taurus, it's like always my favorite. I always get a little bit excited because Taurus is ruled by Venus. I'm also a Libra. Taurus rules Venus and Libra. So me and Taurus, my husband's a Taurus. So we have a lot in common. And we love our comforts. We love fine things. We love the luxuries. We love all these kind of things, right? And so every time I get into a new moon or full moon in Taurus, I always feel pretty good. I always feel like pretty energetic. I want to feel nice and pretty and luxurious, and it's always a good time to start like working on some money goals. It's always a really good time to get clear on like where you're going and things like that. We're going to talk about that more here in just a minute. Charlene says, girlfriend points for noticing right away though. For sure. I didn't know. Yeah, you're awesome. Thank you. That made me smile. Rachel says, I used to rock a boy cut like that. Miss it sometimes, but I miss my long hair to the end of my calves. Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine. I would probably wash my hair on Sundays and that would be it. I would probably live in a messy bun on the top of my head for like ever. But yeah, like the struggle is real. And it's like, we don't have to, you don't have to be like that super professional woman that like cuts her hair off and, but at the same time, I totally understand it because it takes so much time. Tammy says, my mom is a Taurus. I really love Tauruses. They can be pains in the ass. A lot of the time, they're very stubborn. They're very set in their ways. But Taurus energy is so loyal. Taurus energy, if you can have a Taurus as a friend, or if you have someone in your family who's a Taurus, and they're like a Taurus that's in alignment with who they are and things like that, they are the most loyal people on the face of the earth. They will do anything for anybody. They will give you the shirt off their back. Charlene says, yeah, Charlene, your hair is really long too. It's like down to your butt. She says, I wash my hair once a week and I have to live in a bun. Yeah, me too. I do. I mostly do too. So I can totally relate to that. Okay, so, oh, your mom's a Taurus, Charlene? Virgo raised by a Taurus. Wow. It's because you were trying to mother her, probably. Leonie says, so true. So I have like a lot of stuff to get through, so let's get back on track here. Rachel says, totally me to the core. Let's talk about the full moon in Taurus, just for a little bit, okay? So I'm going to talk a little bit about what a full moon actually is in astrology, and then we're going to talk about some other things with it. So Taurus, to me, my experience, is kind of about finding emotional and financial security. They need to feel safe. It's a very safe energy. It needs to feel safe and stable. It's an earth sign, obviously, right? The energy is like really determined. So if you get in between a Taurus and what they want to do, like, I pray for you because it's so difficult to get a Taurus off the track that they're on. And, especially if they're on a negative track, a lot of Tauruses have a lot of issues with like overeating, indulgence, that sort of thing, alcoholism, that sort of thing. It's because they need to feel safe and they need to feel like they have something right now. But Taurus rules the second house, I think, rules the second house. I know that the house that they do rule is about like a secure and happy life. And finding security and self substantiation is really, really important. Like, they don't like to feel. Taurus energy doesn't like to feel dependent on anybody. Taurus energy wants to feel like they're self sufficient. And so, the second house, I want to say it's the second house that Taurus rules. But it's about. The second house is like about your belongings and your resources in a way. It's like kind of like what you're born into, like what's in your immediate environment, okay? And also, it's a kind of about how you learn about the fairness of the world, like what your parents teach you about your sense of fairness of the world. Um, Personal boundaries are a really big second house thing, because if you grow up with parents who don't have a lot of boundaries and are always meddling in your life and things like that, then you can grow up and have a real need to like cut people off and things like that. Or if you're someone who grew up with parents who put up walls with you and didn't really have that nurturing side, you may learn through your early childhood education that people are otherwise cold, or that you're not worthy of having that emotional relationship with. All sorts of things going on in the second house. And it's kind of like second house is kind of like how we relate to the outside world, what we learn about in the very early years. Lynn says, tell me about it. My daughter is a Taurus. Oh my gosh, Rachel, your daughter's a Virgo. Good luck. I'll pray for you. Rachel says second house. Okay, yes, second house. Thank you. Thanks for verifying that. Susie, girl, I'm a Taurus, and I can testify to the food thing. Right. Okay, so who knows what a full moon actually is? Who knows what that aspect is in astrology? Anybody? Does anybody know what a full moon aspect is? It's an opposition. Okay. So oppositions are when two celestial bodies are in opposition, it's kind of like being in this sort of cosmic tug of war. So they're on the other side so you have the Earth, especially in geocentric astrology, where we base where we are in the universe based on Earth. That's usually most tropical natal astrologies. That's probably the astrology that you are familiar with, is the geocentric astrology. And we base what's happening in the universe on Earth and our position. I know, right? Humans. So what happens is the Earth is going around the sun, and the sun's in the middle, and let's just say the Earth is over here, and so the full moon would be over here, and you would have you would have the moon and you would have the sun on either sides of the Earth, and so it's called an opposition. So it's like this tug of war, between the power of the moon and the power of the sun. Rachel says culmination. Sure, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. In a lot of ways, yeah. So a full moon is in opposition, and right now the sun is in Scorpio. Okay, so tell me some things about Scorpio. What do you know about Scorpio, especially sun in Scorpio? For me, Scorpio always represents the 4 R's, which are rejuvenation. Let's see if I can remember all 4 of these. Rejuvenation, renewal, which is kind of like rejuvenation. Renewal is what happens after rejuvenation, I guess. Reform, and reconstruction. Okay? So the 4 R's. You can always remember Scorpio by the 4 R's. Rejuvenation, reconstruction, renewal, reform. So sun in Scorpio represents the sun always represents like what we know we need to do on a conscious level. So it's like what we're aware of. It's in the light, right? So we can see it. And it illuminates, especially in the full moon, it illuminates what sign the moon is in, which happens to be Taurus. So right now there's like this cosmic tug of war going on between the sun and Scorpio, which is about renewal and rejuvenation and reform, and then you have the full moon in Taurus, which is about security and stability and your immediate environment, your personal relationships, your boundaries. Okay, so the sun is shining the light on the moon right now. That's what makes it full. That's why it illuminates. So it shows these things that we need to look at right now. And particularly with a full moon, it shows the things that you need to release or that you need to come to terms with, that sort of thing. Okay? Is everybody with me? So today, I really want to talk about like some things that have to do with Taurus in general, but I really want to talk about boundaries today. That seems to be something that's been coming up a lot, and specifically how to deal with. Okay, so in the group earlier this week, we had a couple posts that were going, ladies were having issues, not having issues, but they were feeling sad because it turns out that, they were losing some people on their pages, or they found out some people unfriended them, or they've gone in a new direction for their business, and some of their old clients are starting to fall away. And I wanted to kind of talk about some of those things, all right? So this is entitled 3 Radical and Rebellious Acts that you can do right now to shift your spiritual business to the next level. Okay? A lot of this is going to be mindset, but some of it's going to be practical too. And if you have any questions about anything, just, you can put it into the comment section and I'll get to it whenever I come over here and look. And if any of this relates to you, if you've ever dealt with this, let me know that too, because I want to know if I'm hitting on the things that you have dealt with and if this is relevant for you. Okay? So the first radical and rebellious thing that I did that totally shifted how I do my business and the energy that I bring to my business, and especially how much money I make and the sales, how easy sales become, was I posted about this like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's about becoming very aware of who, with whom, and what you are spending your precious, precious time and energy with, both personally and professionally. So there's a lot of talk out there about, you are the sum total of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And that is true. So a lot of us go to groups like this where, this group or other networking groups for professionals especially, where we can be surrounded by other women who are on a mission to make a lot of money and help a lot of people with their spiritual gifts, with their intuitive talents and all that sort of thing, their psychic superpowers, right? But what most people miss, okay, is they miss the personal timeline too. And I'm going to speak in Facebook terms just because that's kind of where we are right now. That's where I really run my business, but I mean in general, okay? So I started paying attention, especially on my personal timeline. I started paying attention to the critics and the whiners and the negative people that always have something negative to say, right? They're the people that always kind of complain about their unhappiness. It's always somebody else's fault. It's the president's fault, or it's the IRS's fault, or it's the government's fault, or it's, all these people that it's always somebody else's fault that they're unhappy. I started paying attention to not only friends and family, but also clients, past clients of mine. I started paying attention to all the people who complained about being broke all the time, that sort of thing. Like, even worse, the people that are trying to start their spiritual business, but they're not willing to invest in themselves. They're not willing to hire a coach, or at least come into a group like this where we can help and support you as much as we can for free. At least we can get you going in the right direction. But there's people out there that won't even do that. Like, they won't even, they set up the shop and they wait for people to come, and nobody ever comes. And so obviously to them, their reality, their experience is that this doesn't work. It's not possible. You can't really make money online. You can't make money doing tarot readings or Reiki healings or sharing your intuitive and psychic gifts, okay? So it's usually the people that have spent like maybe 1 month trying to build a business, and they didn't make 10K their first month or something like that. And so yep, it's all a scam. It's all just just one big smoke and mirrors type of situation. I would also pay attention to my friends, well-meaning friends, by the way. Well-meaning friends, friends that I have been friends with since like grade school, friends that I had known since I was getting started in my business, since I started actually making friends in the psychic community, the spiritual community, that sort of thing. Friends that I knew, friends that I had met online. But I would have these friends, and they would like passive aggressively try to sabotage me. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, right? Like they mean well, but they just don't get it. You know what I mean? And they would tell me things like, Christina, you should just go get a real job, or why don't you go back to doing hair, or why don't you go back to school, or something like that. And or they would try to use scare tactics to get me to shrink my ambition down so that they felt better about their life, so that they didn't feel threatened by that, right? And they think that they're doing you a favor, and we appreciate them, but they just don't get it, right? Okay, Vanessa says it takes a lot longer than a month. It takes work and dedication. Girl, you get it. Charlene says they got to keep you where they are. Yeah, exactly. They it's almost like it's threatening. You're threatening in such a way because you're threatening their reality. Stephanie says yes. Yeah. Okay. And then I would have family and friends, both family and friends. And I would be aware. I started becoming aware of this, that they were playing. It's almost like a power struggle, Charlene. It's almost like a competition of who's further ahead and who has it all. And even my family, my cousins, me and my cousins are very competitive. We're all very close in age, and it's all about who's going to get married first, who's going to have the dream house first, who's going to have the baby first, that sort of thing. By the way, no one's had a baby yet because there's a lot. I mean, my aunts and uncles and grandparents, they all put so much pressure on us that I think we're all in like direct rebellion to that. So it's interesting. But, there would be like this conflict over who's the best child and who's the golden goose. Who's the golden goose that's going to carry on the legacy? You know what I mean? Charlene says, that's women though. We're trained to compete with each other for everything. It's true. It is true. It's primal, but it's also modern. There's also modern stuff going on too. Victoria, good to see you. She says, sing it, sister, going through that now. Yeah. So I started paying attention to these people. And I also have uncles. I have uncles who I love, and I think they're such hard workers, and they're such great guys. Like they're good role models, but they're stuck in that old paradigm. They're stuck in that old, way of thinking. I would have uncles, throwing shade at me for, this group is all women. It's women only. And they would see that on my business post, and it would be like they would they wouldn't say anything to me, but they would you could tell they had a chip on their shoulder. And it was like, it wasn't the fact that I was trying to do something on my own. It wasn't the fact that, I was doing something what made me happy. It was the fact that I was hosting an all-female space. That was the biggest threat to them and their fragile masculinity. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if you have guys on, I don't know if you work with only women, or some of you work with only women, or you prefer to work with only women, but, there's that whole thing to it too. And I also have had, my grandmother passed away a couple years ago. You guys know that. Last year. 2 years ago? Almost 2 years ago. Okay. My grandmother, my relationship with her was complicated, for lack of better terms. So she's the one that actually got me into mediumship. She got me my first Ouija board. She was really my biggest influence into the occult. But she was an alcoholic. So, but after 72 years of alcoholism, and she got to a point where she had to be placed in a home and have constant care. I think she started realizing like her days were kind of numbered, and I don't know if I've taken care of a couple parents that have gone through homes, and couple parents and grandparents. And when you're taking care of a disabled parent or grandparent, when they have dementia, and God forbid they also have like a lifetime of alcoholism or drug abuse, or they have mental issues and things like that, trying to take care of those people, there's this thing that happens. It's a phenomenon. It happens. Not everybody's going to go through this, but a lot of people do, and it's called the getting right with God phenomenon. Okay. So I had grown up all my life, 27 or 28 years, with my grandmother telling me to go out on my own and do my own thing and believe what I want to believe. And, there's more to life than just this. There's a spirit world and stuff like that. But combined with her dementia, and combined with her alcoholism, combined with her getting older, she kind of went through like this Jesus phase the last part of her life, and she turned into the person that I was going to hell, and that she was wrong, and I should throw away my Ouija boards and throw away my tarot cards, and I need to have a personal relationship with Jesus. And I do have a personal relationship with Jesus, but she she turned into that kind of like, you can only do it this one way, and it was totally against everything that she had ever taught me, and as a role model in her own life. Okay. So you probably have people that are like that. You probably have people that are constantly like judging you, or trying to get you to like I have a I have a mother-in-law. God bless her. I love her so much, but she knows that I'm kind of different, and she doesn't know the full extent, because she won't even friend me on Facebook because I talk about tarot and things like that. But every single holiday, every single holiday, I have a box full of Bibles that my mother-in-law sends me. She just sent me a $30 leather-bound Bible for my birthday, that it has like 365 days of, in the front, it has like 365 days of scripture, where you can open it for that day and read the scripture. And then the rest of it is like the actual, the Old Testament and New Testament type of thing. It's a beautiful book. It's a beautiful, expensive book, but they just don't get it. It's a beautiful, I'll keep it, I'll treasure it, because it's a memory from her, but, they just don't get it. And then we also have clients too. And if you've been doing this for a little while, you've probably experienced this, where it's almost kind of like you have clients that you need to break up with, and you know that you need to break up with them. I had some clients that I really desperately needed to break up with. These are clients, there's a kind of like a repeat kind of theme here. It doesn't always manifest exactly like this, but it happens. And so let's talk about this, okay? So it's the type of client that they book with you once, they do one session, or they buy like one reading from you, or they buy one healing from you, and then they think that they like own your energy. They think that there's like this now super highway to you and your information and your insight, and nothing else is required of them. They don't have to ever purchase another reading. They don't have to purchase another healing. They're always in your inbox asking, questions, like, and trying to get free readings or free healings out of you, free sessions out of you. And I mean, and I'm not talking about like just a quick little question here or there. I'm talking about like, oh, I wondered if you had any more psychic insights about my life purpose and what I really should be doing. And by the way, my daughter is getting married, and I want to know if their marriage is going to be okay. By the way, do you see that I'm going to be a grandmother anytime soon? I really want to be a grandmother, but I don't know. Maybe we can do a reading on my relationship with me and my daughter, but I really want to make sure that my daughter and her husband are a good fit. So let's do a reading on a relationship analysis on them too. And they want to pay you $10, $15. When that's like, okay, that's like a 3 month, wow, we could meet for 6 times in 3 months and talk about all that kind of stuff. You know, That's like $1,000 package with me. Charlene says it's handy to have a Bible to reference when you're showing people yeah, and I love it. I love it. She says, especially when yours is super nice. It's a beautiful book. It is. It's the principle behind it that bothers me. I love the book. It's just the principle. Charlene says, "Oh my God, yes, your $5 does not mean infinite access." Yeah, and then usually how it goes like this too. Like they're so in denial. They're so in denial because especially I had a couple of them, and as empaths we tend to attract the people that have problems. Let's just be honest. We tend to attract the people that have drug addictions and alcohol addictions or have mental illnesses and things like that because usually by this time the system has failed them, and so now they're looking for some spiritual answer. Okay, they're looking for like a healing, or they're looking to find their life purpose and things like that. But the problem is that they have all of these addictions that are preventing them from actually listening to their intuition. And it's not that I'm not against like drinking. I show up with wine like all the time in the master class. I have wine whenever. I'm an ex-smoker. Like, I am not a saint by any means. I'm not a prude either. But when you have clients that are so addicted to these things, they can't hear their intuition, and so they rely on you, and so they almost like become psychic vampires. Charlene says, but envision telling her how wrong she is about something while pulling out the beautiful book she gave you to show her the passage in the question. And my mother-in-law is so sweet. She's so passive aggressive sweet, and she wouldn't have a discussion with me about it. She would just be like, oh, okay, well, Jesus is the savior, and like she just doesn't. She's not interested. She's great. Christmas is a lot of fun. Let me tell you. When she comes to visit, so I would have these clients. You can identify them really quickly. The clients that they have this full expectation now. They've bought into your energy one time, once or twice, and it's very sporadic. But they have this like full expectation that you're going to give them free services and insight for life, right? And they don't even like offer to pay. And they're also the ones that usually guilt trip you into discounting or giving away your services. Like they're the ones that have the sad, sappy story every 2 weeks, or yeah, like once a month when they get their disability check, that type of thing. Like, and I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to be, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be that way. But again, this is my experience, and these are the type of people that I've dealt with. So it's not to say everybody that gets disability or has financial issues is like this. It's just there seems to be like this repeating theme. Okay, I think you all kind of get what I'm trying to say here. So they would ask for a discount. They would say, can you do anything for me? I know you usually charge this, but can you do it for me just this one time? Or can I get a reading? Can I pay you next week? And then next week comes around and I'm too nice to, they don't pay you, and then I'm too nice to, follow that and like that. Vanessa, do you teach your students how to make their own courses in your master class? Yes. Rachel just created her first course and she did her first workshop today on it. Yes, they do. We're actually doing that right now. I just talked about courses this week. Next week we're going to be talking about packages. The week after that we're going to be talking about membership sites and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, good question. And then here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. And then you would see them post on their personal timeline that they lost like $200 at the boats that week and went gambling. Or they post a picture of like 5 cartons of cigarettes that they got like for $80 on sale. Or they just got a box of wine for 25% off and they're so excited about it and it's a big deal and they're just consuming this money. But they couldn't afford me. Okay? And it screws with your mind because you're sitting there wondering what the heck is wrong with you? Why don't these people value me? Why don't they want to pay me? I'm bending over backwards to accommodate these people, and they have no problem, investing in all of this kind of stuff that it's no good for them. So those people, yeah. And what they were really, really saying to me through their energy was that I, them, value destroying my body more than I value your psychic insight or the coaching that I get from you. Because that's what they're really saying. Taylor says, I'm a fixer. A lot of us are, Taylor. If you're an empath, you're definitely a fixer. Because for you, especially as empaths, like anybody being sad or upset or anything like that, it physically and mentally, emotionally hurts you. So your natural response is to try to fix that pain. So not only they can get relief, but you can also get relief because you're empathing that energy. So I totally understand. I'm still learning to set boundaries so I don't get taken advantage of and to know when to let go. You're gonna do it. You are on the way to do it right now. Just the fact that you're aware that you need to set boundaries and that you're on the lookout for people, that you're becoming to be a little bit like skeptical of people's intentions sometimes, that's good. Pamela says, yeah. Charlene says, girl, I am a luxury item. I've done a video before where I've said, spiritual services are a luxury. They are not a necessity. And when you are patroning, okay, they are a necessity for us on a personal level. And in that case, anybody can pick up a deck of tarot cards. Anybody can learn Reiki. There's so much information on Google. You don't need someone else to perform a service for you unless you want to experience what that person has to offer or you want to be in a total state of allowance. I'm going to talk about allowing here in a little bit too. But, when you pay for someone else's time, you are signaling to the universe that you are in a state of allowance and you're going to give that responsibility to guide the session, the reading, the healing. You're going to give that responsibility to someone else so that you can go in and do the work on an internal level that you need to do. That's really what it is. It's just an energetic, hey, I want you to do this service for me so I can get the full benefit of it. Taylor put a heart. Thank you. So, these people, they will get you down and they will keep you small because they get something out of it. They're not doing you any favors. Their $5, $10 reading once every 3 months is not worth the effort that you're putting into this. And yeah, bridges will be burned. Relationships will have to discontinue, cords will be cut, but I guarantee you that these are the first person who are, if you are in a sea, in the middle of it, your boat's going, your boat sinks, and you all jump off the boat, these are the people that are going to latch onto you as the safety device, as the flotation device, and they're going to drown you in a process of trying to latch onto you to keep themselves afloat, okay? It's like that energetically. It happens on an energetic level. So it's time to get serious. Radical and Rebellious Act number 1. It's time to get serious about with whom and where you're spending your precious energy and your time on a personal level and on a professional level. Okay? If that means you have to divorce some ex-clients, if that means that you have to put people on a restricted list so they're not seeing your stuff, if that means that you have to unfollow people, if that means that you have to create a brand new account on Facebook, technically on the TOS you're not allowed to do that, but worst case scenario, they would tell you that you need to have only one account, and at that point, by the time they catch you, maybe you'll be ready to step into what it is that you really, really, really want to do. Okay? So all that, creating new profiles and stuff like that, all that really does is it just buys you a little bit of time. It's a band-aid in the meantime, but I understand that it takes a lot of bravery and a lot of courage to get rid of people that are they're keeping you way down. They're almost like, you're a boat, you're trying to go, and everyone's throwing anchors overboard, and it's causing your boat to get heavy, and if you don't cut that cord at some point with people that are toxic in your life that are preventing you from moving forward with your dreams to build your own dream business and to help people and to show up in some really big ways, then it's time to cut those cords, okay? Tammy says, would love to pay for help from a few people just getting by, so I enjoy hanging out with you and others when they offer. I'm very thankful for being around like-minded people. And Tammy, it's not that you can't pay, it's just it's all about your energy and the energy that you bring. So you come here and you learn a little bit and you hang out with us, and then you go in your group and you teach a little bit there, and you pass that energy on to other people. It's like a you if you approach it in such a way that you pay it forward, then there's no problem with not being able to afford things, right? There's no problem with that as long as you're paying the energy forward. But these people, the people that I'm talking about specifically, are takers, 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 and they never give anything back out. They never help anybody. They never offer anything to anybody, right? It's all about them. Lynn says they have such a negative effect on your energy. They do, and a lot of us, a lot of us are running around and saying, "Oh, we're blocked, and we have so many blocks, and we're doing all this journaling and affirmations and stuff, and we're doing all the spiritual work." And sometimes it's like it's not even you. It's the other people in your environment. You know what I'm saying? Victoria says it's not an energy exchange. You're right. Charlene, I'm planning to divorce a client tonight as soon as she submits her payment. I'll pray for you. That's my saying for today, by the way. I'll pray for you. Okay. So that's radical and rebellious act number 1. Divorce the people that are just sucking up all your time and energy, and the people that you're constantly walking on eggshells around, the people that you're constantly wondering, like, what did you do wrong to offend this person, or how did you end up getting in this relationship to begin with, and the people that are always trying to get every last drop out of you without giving anything in return, without paying the energy forward in any way. Number 2, this is a big one. I stopped comparing myself to everybody else out there, especially the bigger names, the people that are like have been doing this a little bit longer, the people that are more, let's say, well known than me. And I used to get so wrapped up in that. Oh my gosh, I would like at that point you're like, well, why bother even starting? If these people are so ahead of what I'm doing and I want to do something kind of similar to what they're doing, why even bother? Why even bother? Why even get started? And what that was doing was it was robbing me of my creative energy. It was robbing me of the energy that I could have transmuted that energy and put towards my own content, my own creations, having my own fun in my own business, doing whatever the heck I want in my business. And okay, so it's not your fault. And that's what I really want to say. It's not your fault that you do this. There's a lot of reasons why you actually do this. And another thing I did is I gave myself permission. This is a big one. I gave myself permission to be a rock star at one thing rather than trying to be the Walmart of spirituality. Okay? A lot of you, this is going to resonate. When you're first getting started, I remember when you're just getting started, it's difficult it's difficult. You wonder how you're ever going to get to so-and-so's level. Okay? You wonder how you're going to get there. Everybody's talking about 10K months and 20K months and 50K months, and I'm in groups where they're talking about 100K months and multi-million-dollar years and stuff like that. Ooh, we've got some comments. Charlene says, thanks. You're welcome. Freya says, I had a client that came back after 2 previous readings months ago. She wasn't happy with the first 2 readings, and she is the only one so far I've had a weaker connection with. She's blocking you. I actually sent her minutes to discuss a reading with another advisor. Oh my God, how sweet are you? She immediately called me back, and I texted her, I sent you those minutes for someone else. She posted in reviews that I was just guessing. She is totally blocking you, for sure. Pamela says, that's why I don't have any close friends. Don't need the crap. The friends that get it, that's why this group is so important. I'm just going to be honest. Because as you become more in your power, more in your feminine and your divine masculine power, as you become more of the creatrix of your own universe and you become the master of your own domain, people fall away. People get so intimidated by that. People who you thought were friends, they just up and disappear. People abandon you. And that's why it is so important that if you can find a couple good friends, it doesn't matter if they're in person or if they're virtual, like how we're virtual here. If you can find a couple good groups and a couple good friends, hold on to them with everything you got. Don't squander that. You know, there's people that come into this group and they want to fight with me on everything, and they just don't get it. They don't get the value of this group, and they don't get it until they've been here for a little while, and then they get booted out and banned, and then they're like, oh crap, you know? So if you can find a couple good friends, like Charlene's one of my besties, Maria's one of my besties, Heather's one of my besties. I have other besties too, but Freya, you're one of my besties, and you know I have these besties that I talk to not just about business stuff but personal stuff too. And if you can hold on to these relationships and nurture them and be there for those people, they are what's going to keep you sane. When everything else goes to crap and everybody else goes away and all of a sudden, you know, you find yourself there is truth to the saying that it's lonely at the top of the mountain. You know, our what we want, our vision, our dreams in this group, they are revolutionary, and you have to kind of understand that not everybody's going to have the same ambitions as you. Not everybody's going to be able to make the journey. And so the people that you do see on your journey, just wave to them. Say, hey, you know, thanks for being on my journey. It's good to see you. I'll see you at the top if I see you, you know. And then the people that get to the top with you, just love them and cherish them unconditionally. You really have to. Stephanie says, I just divorced someone last week for my business. Good for you. Congratulations. I love losing people. Losing people, I used to be so scared of that, but I'm not anymore, because losing people means that I'm making room for somebody else that is a better fit. Pamela says, I tell myself I'm a rock star. You are a rock star. Charlene says, yes, we are not Walmart stomping. Charlene says, denial is not just a river in Egypt. Lynn says, I don't like drama. We don't have that here. Love it. Yeah, if you'll notice, we are one of the most drama-free groups out there. And if there is drama, I get the band hammer out pretty quick. You know, we bicker sometimes. We're like little old ladies occasionally, and we bicker about things, you know, but we do it, we're not like trying to like prove anybody wrong. We're just, you know, we can have a difference of opinions. It's not that we're not all Heathers. You know, not sorry Heather, my Heather. I'm sorry, but it's that movie, The Heathers, if you've ever seen them, where like you have to act and be a different way and believe the same things. We're not like that here, but I do diversity and intelligent. You know, intelligent thought is a cornerstone of my mission here. So yeah, I love you too, Charlene. Pamela says, at least on the internet you can meet tons of people and sift through. Absolutely. Faith says, those kinds of relationships are vital to having success in successful business while staying sane. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Pamela says, I noticed the no drama. There's only about 2 groups I follow anymore in here. Yeah. I'm going to try to keep it drama free as long as I can. That's why I'm really like, I don't care how many people are in here. You know, as long as the people that are showing up fully and they're getting a benefit out of it, I don't care if we have 10 people, 500 people, or, you know, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me how many people are in here. As long as the people that are in here are happy to be here. Faith says, I love being able to have real conversations with people who have different opinions than me. We can learn from each other. Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I'm going to talk about that too, Faith. I'm going to talk about that. That's going to be like one of the last things I talk about. So you're kind of like leading into this third thing here. But yeah, I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit. So I'll tell you about a story that happened to me yesterday or the day before. And I'll talk a little bit more about why that's so important. Why being able to have a difference of opinion, but also being able to coexist with one another, having those differences of opinion and not being insecure with that, it's important. Victoria, yeah, on Wednesday you don't all wear pink. Faith says, I'm a psychic. Yeah. So Okay, so when you're just getting started, where am I at? When you're just getting started, come on, brain, think. You think about how you're going to catch up to people, right? So you watch people and you emulate them to the best of your ability, and you find a small measure of success. Some things work, some things don't. But most of the time, when you're emulating other people and what you think is successful for them, it's always going to kind of lead to disappointment, okay? Because my bang, ugh. Because the truth is that you don't know why they're doing what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what the end game is. So investing either your time or your money into learning these types of strategies and learning, you know, some of this kind of stuff, like what we see online with workshops and series and challenges and pop-up trainings and live trainings and things like that. Like, you have to, you kind of have to have like some sort of strategy in mind. So I actually teach us in the masterclass that the masterclass is all about marketing strategies, specifically marketing strategies on Facebook. So, but you can learn some of these different things by watching me. You can learn some of these things by watching other people. You can kind of piece some of these things together. But if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing and you're just trying to fit in and be a Heather, you know, then it's really, really, really difficult. And so I'm a big advocate for Tammy being yourself in your business, okay? Being who you are. And you can use frameworks and you can use formulas and you can use content creation calendars and all that kind of stuff like I give in the masterclass. But at the end of the day, that's only the framework. You still have to show up and be yourself, okay? You have to, I stopped trying to fit in. Let's put it that way. There's something that goes along with this. We're actually going to talk about this more on the challenge at the end of the month. I don't know if you've seen this, but there's a challenge that we're doing. Let me get the link real quick. Hang on. You know, find it. Conquer. Yeah. Okay, so we're doing a challenge at the end of this month. I want you to sign up for this challenge right now because you probably really need to do this because this is going to like kind of expand on this live training today, and it's going to help you build a really strong foundation of belief in yourself and belief in your belief in what you're worth. Okay? And so how this kind of manifests, let's say, it manifests as the fear of success. Okay? Raise your hand if you are scared of your own success or if that's ringing true for you in any way. The reason is because you're terrified of your own success. And I was the same way too. Like, I would say things like, I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be seen. I really just don't want to, I don't want a lot of people to know who I am. I feel like I'll lose a bunch of my time. I feel like I'll lose the essence of myself. I feel like I'll be more pressured to have to fit in and to do these other things. And I feel like, I'll have to drop all of these things that are wrong with me. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. All of these perfect imperfections that I have. And, I'll have to lose the weight or I'll have to start doing these other things. All of these other things that we like put on ourselves that are not really something that we actually have to do to show up. It's just something that we feel like we have to do. And what that actually is a distraction. It's a distraction to keep yourself small. Because here's the thing. Money, let's just face it, money is going to make your life easier. If you can pay all your bills and you can buy all your groceries and you're starving and you can turn your heat on in the winter and you're not starving and cold and, and you're comfortable. Remember, Taurus is all about being comfortable and stable. If you can make enough money to where you're comfortable and stable, then think about how much amazing stuff that you can create. Think about how much easier it is to show up when you actually have money, okay? So that's one of the mindset things we're going to talk about in the challenge. I'm going to expand on that a little bit more. But the thing is also, is that we tell ourselves that we can't afford it. We tell ourselves that we can't allocate the money for it. We tell ourselves all these things. And the truth is, my truth, okay? The truth that I've developed for myself, the truth that I approach my clientele with that has forever changed their mentality, their mindset about how they do business is it's not about the money. It's just not. It is about the money. It's about making money, obviously, because that's what a business does. But it's not about the money. It's about what the money buys you, right? And in some cases, I mean, I've taken out loans and credit cards. I have gotten part-time jobs to raise funds for coaching, and I've asked my mom to loan me money a couple times. She doesn't, but I still ask, if I need it. But there's a zillion ways that, a thing like money, like making money, can be accomplished, especially if you're in a first world country. Especially if you have access to the opportunity that we do, especially Americans, Canadians, people in the Western world, we have all of these amazing opportunities. And so it's not about the money. So anytime you say I can afford it or that I don't have the funds to allocate towards it, what you're actually saying is that you don't value it enough. You are more comfortable with where you are than where you could possibly be. And why? Because Charlene was kind of hitting on this a little bit. It's safer for you. It's safer for me too. It's safer for all of us, okay, to know deep down that what we're really doing with this whole I have to lose the 10 pounds, I have to lose the 50 pounds, I have to do my hair and makeup, I have to um, buy the course and things like that. And sometimes you do have to buy the course. Sometimes you do have to learn the strategy. But what you're really, really doing is if you're saying, I want to do this, but I have to do this first, what you're actually doing is you're distracting yourself. So it becomes easier just to tell yourself that it's too hard so you just don't end up doing it. Okay? And so I know that I'm not trying to piss you off, but I'm also trying to make you aware that there's nothing that says that you can't do this. It's all about how much you value it, and it's all about, especially if you have an environment around you that is non-conducive, that's number one, right? So you need to get rid of those people. Two, you need to get over the fear of being seen. You need to get over the fear of being visible. If you don't have those people around you that are toxic, if you don't have those people around you that you're constantly worried about, if you're constantly walking on eggshells with, imagine the freedom that you would have to just simply be who you are, flaws and all. Okay? Does that make sense with everybody? So in reality, what you're actually doing is you're overcomplicating things so that you will self-sabotage, so that you don't rise to your full potential, because it is scary. It is scary to be responsible for it. Every day I'm all like, crap, I have 500 people that I'm responsible for, and I have how many, 30 people in the masterclass. So it's like every day, yes, I have to work on my energy. I have to work on building my energy up. I have to start small, but also challenge myself a little bit too, and be able to show up in new ways and take on more responsibility, because that uncomfortableness, that point at which it's almost kind of painful, that's where the change happens. There's a reason why pain is, one of the top motivators for people to do anything, right? So there has to be a measure of pain involved for the change, the evolution to occur, right? Everybody with me? So what I see the most is, it's the fear of success. It manifests as I have to do this. I have to do X, Y, Z things, and I can't just show up as I am, and I have to have all of these fail-safe systems in place. And no matter what you do, let's say you drop the 20 pounds. Let's say you get a bitchin' new haircut. Let's say you take a makeup class and you do a makeup class. Let's say you do all these other things that, it provides this foundation for you to feel better. But no matter what, once you actually get there, you're always going to find the next thing that needs to be fixed or tweaked. So I don't want you to think of, being visible or being internet famous or being well known or being responsible for a lot of people. I don't want you to think about it as like the end game, because I think that's a lot of people get that mixed up with actual success. That's not actually what success is. The success is the small things that you do every single day that change and that grow you. And then, you look back at the timeline and you see where you started and you see where you are today. That's what success is. Success is not how many followers you have. It's not how many people are on your business page. It's not how many people are in your group. It's none of this kind of stuff. Okay? United Kingdom, yeah, any type of like Western world. Pamela says, I think I'm at the point that I don't care if people know who I am or that I have been doing tarot. I'm happy for you. Leonie says, living up to others' expectations. Yeah. Faith says, all of those things are fears of mine. When you say it out loud, I realize how many fears I've hidden from myself. I never wanted to be well known. I never wanted to be the face of my brand. But the reality is that we are the face of our brands. Tammy says, yes, you can have the tools, but make it your own, but be true to who you are. People will like you or not. Yeah, it's like, it's so much like that. People will either align with your energy or they won't. And the people that align, those are the only people that matter. Emma and I are going to watch Heathers tonight. She's curious of what we were talking about. Hi, Emma. She's going to love that movie. It's hilarious. I think she's old enough for it. I am on it. Lynn says, when I can donate to a special cause of mine, then I'm a happy customer. Of course, I like nice things for myself, too. And it's okay to admit to yourself that you like nice things. It's okay to have nice things. Nice things are awesome, right? Nice things, everybody says money doesn't buy happiness. And to an extent, that is true, but money does buy you a lot of happiness. Let me just tell you, as someone who has grown up without money, someone who has lived in the most terrible situations, the person that has lived off ramen, the person who has gone hungry, money does buy a measure of happiness. Okay? Victoria says, I say this to my clients all the time. You do what you really want, the rest is excuses. That's absolutely true. You're right on it. Tammy says accountability. Yes. Charlene says it's not a popularity contest. That's absolutely right. It's not. And I think a lot of, especially as women, this is kind of like what Charlene was talking about. For women especially, it's a lot more difficult than it is for men, because for women, we have all of these circumstances in which we have to get our hair done and blow dry our hair and do our makeup and look presentable, and it's like you have to be the total package, right? We're going to talk more about this. So it's one of those things. I'm going to talk. This is going to be point 3, so we're actually going to get into that. We'll go ahead and get into that now. Freya says, that's my stance of, if they don't click with me, I don't want them to discover someone. I want them to discover someone else who does. I'm not there to waste our time. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so radical and rebellious act number 2 is to basically get in alignment with money. Get in alignment with who you actually are. Get in alignment with what it is that you actually want to be, and stop playing the game of comparing yourself to other people. Just stop. You have to stop. Okay? So, at the end of the day, that's kind of like what we all want. And I say it's not about the money, but money buys us things. Money buys us time. Okay? And that's what we actually really want. We want time. We want the time to be able to do what we want. We want the time to be able to spend our energy with the people we want and things like that. Stephanie says, money does buy a measure of safety. This is the first time in my life I don't have to worry about being homeless. Right? Like, you can wake up and you don't have to wonder if you're going to be evicted that day, and that if you're going to have a meal that day. Could you imagine trying to run your own business and wonder at the same time, 85% of your brain is occupied with, okay, I need food, need shelter, need water, need safety, Imagine trying to run a business like that. And so it first starts with your mindset. It first starts with, okay, I realize that to make money and to get that level of safety, I need to be seen, I need to be visible in my business, and I need to own who I am and what I do, and I need to get real with where I'm going. Okay? That's what it starts with. You have to want the money, you have to want the attention, you have to want to make the sale in the first place to get the sale. So, money can be your BFF if you let it. Okay, radical act number 3, but first I need tea. Emma says hi. She has been trying to listen on the lives when she's home. She knows they help me a lot. That's so sweet. Radical act number 3. I decided to start unconditionally loving and accepting myself. Okay? Right where I am, with all of my perfect imperfections, all my flaws, all the extra weight I carry, the bags under my eyes. you know, the bags under my eyes I almost wear as a badge of honor because they show people how hard I work, you know. A lot of the times I don't even wear makeup most of the time. Like when I go to school, I don't wear makeup. When I go grocery, I don't, I only really wear makeup, a little bit of makeup when I show up live because it makes me feel better. It's almost like a magic potion that makes me feel strong, makes me invoke that warrior type of energy to show up and be brave. Okay? Lynn says money can buy peace of mind. It really does. It doesn't buy you happiness, but it buys you a lot of things that can make you happy. So, yeah. And, I cuss, and for all intents and purposes, a lot of people look at me and they don't think I'm spiritual. I've had people in this group say, you're really unethical because you teach people how to make money with tarot cards that they haven't been reading for a long time, and I feel like you've got to read for 20 years to be able to make a business out of it, and you're unethical because you're not all love and light, you're unethical because you cuss, you're unethical because you drink, and all of these, you are, okay? Charlene says, I have an MUA friend whose company is named Warpaint. I love that. Kathy says, I say war paint all the time. You guys have heard me say, I'm putting on my war paint. I say that all the time in the masterclass. Putting on my war paint. See you in 5 minutes. Kathy says, excellent points about not comparing. Thank you. Your live videos are awesomely helpful. You're so welcome. Pamela says, I don't like doing lives to show the bags under my eyes. Just get some powerful lights. They won't see them. Charlene says, spiritual as fuck. Pamela says, I swear like a trucker. Yeah, so I'm not America's sweetheart, okay? I'm not. Growing up, I was a punk. I was the first kid to have a purple and green mohawk. I was the first kid to have facial piercings. I was the first kid in my family to have tattoos. I'm not America's sweetheart. That's not my thing. That's not the archetype that I'm really going for. It's never been part of my DNA. And I do come off as really sweet and nice, but that's just kind of who I am as a person. But, if you've partied with me and you've done the content creation sessions with me, or, you've done masterclass stuff with me, it's that I can get a little, wild. So, as wild as I can get, I'm really, really, I'm the master of sexual innuendos. Pamela says, oh yeah, I forgot about lights. Awesome. Leonie says, I'm hands all over the place. I get it. And, there's this big movement out there, especially among women. And again, this seems to be that's why I really am all about, helping women, because, God, boy, do we need help. You know what I mean? We need a lot of help. And there's this huge misconception out there that spirituality inevitably leads to perfection, right? And it leads to, if you are super spiritual, to have the perfect body. And if you're super spiritual, eventually you'll drop all the weight. You'll have the perfect body. You'll have the perfect health. You'll have the ability to channel profound wisdom and interest. You'll always be interesting to everybody at all times, and you'll just be so, so, so perfect if you're spiritual enough. That's a word that seems to come up for us a lot, right? And there's this whole movement out there that believes if a person isn't perfect already, by, I don't know, society standards, cultural standards, then they obviously aren't spiritual enough. And this is a major, major problem. Victoria says, why is it okay for LeBron James to make millions for his gifts, and it's not okay for psychics to make money from theirs? Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah. I mean, the whole NFL, NBA, there's so much money. There's more money. You could probably fund Social Security and all that kind of stuff just based off the money that flows through. our games and stuff like that. I'm just making things up right now. I don't know for sure, but I would assume there's a lot of money. I used to work at a barbershop where I watched what is it called, Sports Center or whatever the heck it's called. I used to watch that for like 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for like years. So Charlene, it does, but spirituality teaches you all of this. Large waving arms is already perfect. I think a lot of people miss out. They miss out on that part. And we get into spirituality because we know we have problems, right? We get into spirituality because our life, in the moment, our life maybe sucks, so we're looking for something more, and we're wondering why we're so broke and all the time, and we're wondering why our health sucks and things like that. So we get into spirituality because a lot of us have a lot of these unresolved issues that we need to face, and we kind of begin to realize that our life is not so great because we start to read about unhealed wounds and trauma and things like that, and past life trauma and stuff like that. So we start this spiritual journey, and then what happens is that things kind of change, right? Life becomes more interesting. For me, before I found spirituality, before I got started down this path, my life was always just like shades of gray. It was shades of black, white, and gray. It was very rare to find color in anything for me. And I'm speaking on a very metaphorical level here. Like, just, I wasn't interested in anything. I didn't want to pursue anything. I never wanted to go out and do anything. My whole existence was about surviving and just making it through the next day. And then, I don't know, that's it for the rest of my life until I die, right? I know that's really morbid, and I'm sorry, but, that was kind of like where I was at. And then I found yoga, and I started going to spiritualist centers, and I started learning about chakras, and I started learning about past lives, and I started learning about astrology and tarot cards and things like that. And it just kind of snowballs into this just giant experience, right? All of these fun new things that we get to explore, all of these ways that we can connect the dots between our past traumas and hurts, and how maybe we can inevitably, I hate using the word cure, but maybe accept, allow, stop resisting, that sort of thing. And we challenge ourselves. We start to learn to challenge ourselves, and it becomes really fun, and it becomes such a great way to reignite our life, a great way to reconnect with ourselves, a great way to reconnect with everybody else who's interested in this kind of stuff, right? So we take it really seriously, especially people like us who end up ultimately wanting to make a business out of this, because we see how different our life is now, how colorful our life is now that we have all of these other interesting things in our lives. And so we want to help others. We want to help other people find color in the world. We want to help other people heal from these things. And that's why that's why we end up offering services, because we want to help people that were where we were. We want to help introduce them to this big new world of possibility and potential, because we see our own results, we see how it changes our lives, and so we end up getting into this, we end up monetizing spirituality, which is not a bad thing. Spirituality, money is spiritual, okay? That is a firm belief of mine, that you can be spiritual and you can help a lot of people and you can make a lot of money. Those three ideals are not mutually exclusive. However, the pressure for women, especially who commercialize spirituality, and I'm not saying that in a negative way, okay? There's no negativity to that whatsoever. But there is kind of like an insidious type of side to it, okay? Especially the women men or women, let's backtrack, especially the people that are in this for the wrong reasons, meaning they think it's their next get rich quick scheme, or they think that spiritual people have a lot of money to spend on crap or pseudoscience, and so they get into this because they think that they're going to just make a whole bunch of money, and they're not really in it because their heart's not really in it, let's just put it that way. And typically we see these people, they have a really big influence, okay? So we we can become a little jaded in some ways about seeing these people who supposedly have success. You have to remember that these ads that you see and these really well polished websites and these really well polished commercials and things like that, you have to remember that that's exactly what they are. They're polished. So where you are at right now, it's very difficult to think how you're going to get to that place, because there's something inside of you. Okay, there's something inside of you that is in direct resistance to that sort of polished type of advertisement, because that's what it is. It's a bastardization of the commercialization of spirituality in some way. That's not true for everybody. In fact, I know some really great coaches and really great leaders who do have polished websites, do have polished videos and things like that, and they're actually really helping people, and their heart is really in it. But you know what I'm talking about, though, because your intuition kind of goes off, right? You get that like danger, danger type of thing, that sort of thing. And it's not your fault. It's not your fault that you feel like this. It's not your fault that it feels sometimes like a carrot on a stick that you're kind of chasing, right? There's a lot of pressure out there. There's a lot of pressure for women to, not only do you have to have the looks and the brains and just be a regular person with the looks and the brains, but there's this whole other subculture, especially professionally, in the professional spiritual field, to not only have the looks and the brains, but also to have the moral purity of a saint. Does that make sense with everybody? Is everybody like, yeah, right? And we're sitting here like, okay, well, after beating ourselves up for a little while, some of you for a long time, we start to wonder, okay, well, who decides this morality? Who decides what's spiritual and what's not spiritual? Who decides all of this, right? And that gets even trickier, because, there's even more subsections of spirituality that are becoming more and more dogmatic and extreme, as that's just what happens. That's just energy in general, okay? And so we are inundated with these ads and things out there to be it's so high pressured that you have to be a 6 or 7 figure spiritual business owner, otherwise we should suck and we suck and we just quit. We should quit, And there's just so much pressure to be so perfect, even in the spirituality field, and it's BS. It's total BS. And it keeps so many people from just starting. And that's Radical and Rebellious Act number 3, is to love and accept yourself with who you are right now, and start with what you have. And stop comparing yourself to other people. Stop peeking at other people's paper, on the test, whatever, because if you keep doing that, you're always going to find an excuse not to start. You're always going to find an excuse not to show up. And human is in, real is in. Nobody really wants to buy the plastic stuff anymore. Nobody really wants to polish stuff anymore. Yeah, it might sell immediately, but it doesn't form connections. You know what I mean? That's what we're really about here, is we're about forming the connections. The money comes. Good money is a byproduct of a really great relationship with you and your client, right? So the money will come, but there's so much pressure. And what I want to say, I think, where I'm going with this, is that we get so wrapped up in that end result. We get so wrapped up in that. I have a couple stories I'll share. So one story is, I remember one time when I was just getting into live streaming, and I was so scared, and I've talked about this in the masterclass, where I'm like throwing up in the bathroom prior to getting on live stream, because I'm just so scared, and nervous and anxious. And I will never forget one of the first live streams I ever did. Not only was I totally scared, terrified out of my mind, but I had a well-meaning friend. Again, right, with our well-meaning friends. Ditch them. But anyway, she hops on the live stream. I'm in my groove. I'm talking about it. The words are coming out of my mouth, not squeaks or grunts or just my face frozen in fear. But she goes, "Christina, you look really tired. You should get off live stream and you should go to bed." Because I didn't have any concealer on or something like that. Maybe I didn't have a lot of makeup on or something like that, right? And in reality, I was feeling really great. I was like really energetic. I was happy that words were coming out of my mouth. It took so much energy, so much energetic, mental, emotional, physical preparation just to show up. And then, we have these unhealed people walking around projecting their BS onto us. And the fact that I guess the fact that I had purple and puffy under eyes, really struck an insecurity with her, and so she felt like it was her duty, with these well-meaning friends, her duty to bring it to my attention, how tired she projected I was, that I must be based off of my appearance. And so part of her ego, now I understand this, but I had to do a lot of self work around this, but her ego was like, oh my god, danger, 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 like red lights were flashing and it was like caution tape was being put up, and she had to shut me down. She had to screw with my energy because it was not safe for her, you know and honestly, all this did was really, it just kind of interrupted my flow, because I'm such an empath, like you guys. I'm an empath too, and I pick up on all of this insecurity and this projection. So radical and rebellious act number 3. Not only does it start with unconditionally loving and accepting ourselves, this is big, but we also have to unconditionally love and accept others for how they wish to represent themselves to the world and to their business. I'm talking about your peers. I'm talking about people in general, but I'm specifically talking about your peers. Showing up and giving your peers the respect they deserve, because you know how hard it is to show up every single day, to come up with new content all the time, especially if you're someone who has anxiety disorder or depression, or you have an invisible illness, or you have a condition. Kai Elliott, she's in the group. She's really great working. She has the Wounded Healer, and she's in the masterclass too. And we've been doing a lot of things and talking about this a lot, and how we need to respect each other for how we wish to represent ourselves in our business and how we wish to show up. And that's not to say, again, this is not to say that you have to stay in abusive relationships. You don't have to stay part of someone else's energy that's in direct conflict with your own desire and values. You have permission, like I said, to cut those cords. Radical and rebellious act number 1. But things started changing for me in my business, and I started developing really great relationships with people and potential clients and also my peers when I started becoming really totally conscious. I always put my best effort forth. I don't always succeed, but I try. But to become totally conscious of how we are speaking to others and how not to project our own BS onto our peers and our potential clients. Okay? I have a story about this too. We'll get into this in here in just a moment. Every time you show up honestly, every time you show up in integrity and authenticity to who you are in this moment, you also give someone else permission to do the same that might just be scared out of their mind. Just because they even showed up. I mean, that's a big freaking deal. And then you go and say, someone goes and says, oh, you look tired. Maybe you should just log off. And, it's sabotage. That's what it is. It's plain and simple. It's sabotage. It's, if you are doing this to people, you really got to stop. You got to stop. You have to ask yourself, why is it so important for me to tell someone this? Why is it so important for me to project this onto somebody else? What am I getting out of it? And then think about it. Just think about it. And there's so many different things. I mean, it's not just about wearing makeup, but, Libra, ex-hairdresser, ex-makeup artist, makeup addict. It's easier for me to use that as an analogy. But there's so many other ways that this can show up, okay? So what if someone has a stutter? What if someone their first language is something else, and they're really trying hard to learn English, and they're really trying to do English in their live streams? And what if they mess up some of their words, or what if they don't pronounce something right? Okay. What about people who, I know there's a lot of people who, I have a friend that has Tourette's, and the idea of going on live stream, she only does it for small amounts of time because she doesn't know when that next tick is going to happen. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but if you are around her, it's funny and you can laugh with her at the same time. But there's so many different things, like there's people who have OCD. There's people that are overweight. There's people that are disfigured or disformed, or they have alopecia, or there's so many different things out there. Everybody has like a whole laundry list of things that they're insecure about, right? So Charlene says accents. A friend was told to lose the southern accent if she ever wanted to be taken seriously or considered intelligent. Ooh, by a well-meaning friend, right? Pamela says, I'm tired of the well-meaning friends. I was told I should wear makeup. That was not a private call. Did you give them the middle finger? Because I probably would have. Okay? So, in other words, be conscious before you speak. Give other people the same respect that you'd want given to you. And in return, when you learn how to love and accept yourself for who you are, right in this moment, you also stop judging others. It's amazing what happens. It's magic. And you stop judging yourself, you stop judging others, you stop judging who's spiritual as if it's your business to begin with, right? As if it's anybody's business to begin with. And this is what happens. When you can do this, and you become conscious of this, and if you have a nasty opinion about something and you're like, well, if you catch yourself turning into a keyboard warrior, you're like, I don't like this. This is not right. I don't agree with this at all. Nope, you're wrong. Nope. If you catch yourself turning into that person, stop. Erase it. Take a break. Step away from the computer for 5-10 minutes. Go find something else to do, because that is a terrible waste of your energy. And when you can do this, you save energy, and what happens is you enter into what I call the state of allowance. You are an allowance for yourself to take whatever form. You're in a state of allowance, allowing other people to be able to not worry about whether you're going to try to sabotage them or not, or think anything like that. And when you're in a state of allowance, Pamela says, you're so animated. Yeah. Pamela says, take a guess at who it was. Yeah. I'm still not over that, by the way, but I'm trying. Deep breath. We're trying to release that cord. Trying. That's all you can ever do is just try. Anyways, And so when you're in the state of allowance, you're in a state of receiving. Allowance equals receiving. If you allow, then you can receive, correct? So what that means is that you are open to the flow of clients. You're open to the flow of money. You're open and you're allowing of all of the awesome stuff that you could have and be and do. And you're in this energy of support and encouragement for others to also have all of these amazing things and to be whatever they want to do. Be whatever they want to be and do whatever they want to do. And so magic happens. Your life transforms overnight. Your life transforms overnight. You wake up as a different person. Does that mean that sometimes I still don't catch myself? No. But I try to be mindful of how I am communicating. Okay? And for me, it's about trying to stop inserting my beliefs and my insecurities where they don't belong. Like, if someone posts something that I don't like on their timeline, and I'm like, it's on their timeline or something, and it's their right to post whatever they want on their timeline, and I don't agree with it, I'll try really hard not to insert my foot into that conversation. I try really hard. I don't always succeed. I succeed more and more and more, but I always try to be mindful of who is receiving my energy. Right? Because if I expend my energy into that and get myself involved in that, and it just robs us of so much creative energy that we could be using for so many other more constructive things. I'll give you an example. And then I'm gonna start pulling some cards here. So you all have been really patient, and I just appreciate you hanging out with me, for real. This example, so a reader, I was in tarot group yesterday. I'm not going to say which one, because honestly, I actually don't remember which one. I'm in like 3 or 4 of them. Hi, Susan. Good to see you. So some lady asked a question, okay? She asked a question in a tarot group, and she said that she had been part of Biddy Tarot's community. If you don't know, Biddy Tarot has a community where you can buy into it and you can practice readings and stuff like that. So she had been in that um, community and been doing readings for free for feedback. And uh, I don't know, maybe it's part of Biddy Tarot's Learn Tarot course or something, but the lady that was asking the question had created these flashcards. So it would be like the name of the card, and then on the back it would be like a couple sentences about the card. Okay? And she had these on her ring, and she was saying how she was asking for a general consensus on, is it professional to do readings in person while having this she called it a cheat sheet or something like that. And what I gathered is that her flashcards are kind of like the security blanket for her. You know, she said that she'd been reading for a while, but she has these flashcards, and she just didn't know if it was generally acceptable to do that. Like, she was just trying to feel for some feedback, right? And she asked what people thought. And this poor girl, oh my God, she was slammed. Just slammed with so much negativity. Oh, so much. So many keyboard warriors. I can't believe you would even think about that. That's not going to fly, doll face. And like, just nasty. Just people being like professional readers. You know, just being so nasty. Never in a million years would I dream of doing that. It's so unprofessional. It doesn't matter how long you've been reading. If you're still using flashcards, then you're still new and you have no business charging for your readings. Like, she was, that poor girl. It's still probably, if you go into some tarot groups and you type in on the search bar, you could probably search in flashcards or something like that, and it might pull up the thread. I don't know if she deleted it or not. But, and a lot of the people, what I did notice, a lot of the people that were actually being nasty were some people that were in this group that I had kicked out because of their negative behavior. So I was like, wow, dodged a bullet there, right? And some of them even run tarot groups. Oh, so you can only imagine like how that's going. But, you know, birds of a feather flock together. Charlene says, in all fairness, she changed her original post by the time you got there. Actually, Charlene, I saw the original post. I actually waited a long time before I responded to her because I wanted to think about it for a while. I wanted to think about it. So I did see the original post, but I waited like hours. I saw it when she posted it, and then I had to wait till I got out of school to actually reply to it. So they dug into her, and they told her that, you know, it was highly unprofessional and she has no business doing paid readings until she can throw away the cards. And honestly, my heart sank. My heart sank. So I was horrified. I was horrified because, number one, you know, this poor girl, she's new to it, and she has 50 people telling her that she should just quit now. And then also that these are professional readers that are talking to her like this. And I was horrified because I was like, oh my God, I wonder how they talk to their own clients. I was like, you know, like deer in the headlights. I was like, oh my God. Just horrified by the response that she was getting and how these are people who are supposedly professional. You know what I mean? And so I thought about it. I didn't reply to it for a long time, and I thought very carefully about what I was going to say to her because I felt like I wanted to say something to her. Pamela caught some of it. Yeah. So she said she couldn't even read the thread because it was so icky energetically. It was. I was like, oh my God, you people are professionals. So I tuned in and I was like, okay, if I was in this situation, what would I want? What would I have wanted someone to say to me? So I thought about her situation very carefully, and I really chose my words as best as I could, and I focused on the solution to her problem. This is one of the radical and rebellious acts that you can do. So, okay, her problem was that she couldn't do in-person readings without her flashcards or video readings, okay? Same thing. So what I suggested was that she not worry about in-person readings right now and instead open up an Etsy shop and do email readings or stick to phone readings or get on the psychic hotlines and do phone readings where the pressure isn't so high You know what I mean? And because in both of those scenarios, flashcards are not going to come up. The topic of flashcards are not going to come up. So she can still get paid. She can still learn and get paid at the same time. So I tried really hard to not project my BS onto her. I didn't project my insecurities onto her. I didn't ask her who the heck she thinks she is. Some of the comments really made my skin crawl. So, but in that moment, I decided to be radical and rebellious by loving her and accepting her and being in a state of allowance for who she is right now in this moment. I honored where it is that she ultimately wants to go. I acknowledged her pain of needing the cards. And by doing all of that, I do the exact same thing for myself. You see how that works? And this is where the action actually happens, okay? It happens when when one person believes in you and encourages you. The one voice that calls out to us in a sea of naysayers and negativity. That's all it takes. And it takes bravery for us to be that one voice amongst many that said, everybody's saying, no, you can't, to be the person that says, yes, you can, here's how. Okay? And that, my biz besties, is radical and rebellious. So it's not that you have to be a yes person and say yes all the time, but when you see that negativity, be that person that says, yeah, you can do it. Here's how you do it. And then tell them how to do it. You're going to stand out. You're going to get that client. They're going to remember you forever. You've made a long-lasting impression. And, you rubbed everybody else's nose in it, which is kind of fun sometimes. Faith says, kindness and encouragement for her, honoring yourself too. For sure. Yes. Thank you. I actually got many, there was a couple people, she said, thank you for being kind. And there was, I had one reply on it. Thank you, Lorene. I appreciate your reply on it. And I actually got some messages for some other people that were too scared to speak up and saying thank you for trying to help that person. Victoria says, do you think the way they talked to her became a mob mentality? Yeah, and I think people are just stuck up. And I think that people that are like hobby business readers, where they're like, they read sometimes, but it's not like their main source of income, so they have the luxury of being however uptight or snobby about it that they want to be, and they can project that onto her. They're not in the same situation as her. You know what I mean? Not that I presume to know her situation, but you should, I really speak out about taking business advice from people who don't run businesses. You know what I mean? Pamela says, I think she could have used the flashcards while doing an in-person reading. She could have used it all as a tool for her clients without them even knowing. I've never, in my experience, in the 7,000 readings and life coaching sessions that I have done since 2009, full-time since 2012, I've never had a client ask me about my methods. Like, it's all about the information. It's all about the experience. It's all about how you help them. It's not about how you get the information. Who cares if you use flashcards? Who cares? Who cares? Like, take that and shove it. Pamela says, also gives her ways to build her confidence and possibly transition to readings without the cards. And that's exactly what I said too. And that's exactly what she needs. She just needs to do like 100 readings where, she's doing the readings and they're in real time and they're not doing the Biddy Tarot email readings. She just needs that. She needs the safety blanket for however long she needs it, and then she can get rid of it. Everybody's different. Everybody's going to get to that point in a little bit of a different speed. But it's not an excuse to not be able to make money and do this professionally. It's not an excuse. And everybody was trying to push that on her. It pissed me off. Charlene says, I have all sorts of people ask me about my methods. Usually the people that ask me are the people that want to know like how to do it for other people. And so I had that course where I taught a little bit. But my people are really good. I don't know. I think I just have a really good energy that attracts a certain type of person. And I think they trust me. Okay, let me get a list up and going. Let's see. It's 4:41. I'm just going to go until 5 o'clock my time. let's see. So I'm not going to put a number on it, but we'll just get to as many people as we can. Oh, thanks. God, I wonder how many times I've shuffled. It's probably got to be in the millions. Okay, so if you want a card for the full moon in Taurus, I am happy to give you one. I just got a new deck. It's called The Sacred Creators. It's by Chris Ann. I think you can go to Chris. Let me see. Let me put it. Let me just. You know what? Hold on. Let me just get you a link. It's chris-ann.com. And it was on Kickstarter. I didn't get the Kickstarter version, unfortunately, but I got the remastered version. And it's beautiful. I've been eyeing this for so long. So long I've been wanting this deck. And it is the only deck out there that I know of that is specifically for creatives and artists. That is, it's actually an oracle deck, but it's kind of based. There is the archetypes based off of tarot. Okay, all right. Let me get the list going. Give me just 1 second here. Okay, Lynn. H. Tammy. Leonie. Susan M. Pamela, Stephanie, Freya. I think we're going to be able to get to all of you. Stephanie H. Freya. Faith. Taylor. Victoria. Okay, we're going to cut it off up there because I think that's all I can really fit in right now. Okay, so Lynn H. And this is going to be specifically about like what you need to do, or maybe a mindset tip about how to, oh, Lynn Smith too. Thank you, Lynn. About how you can get back into alignment if you're feeling out of alignment, or maybe, you know, you're going to do some sort of like full moon ritual tonight or something, some type of magical type of experience where maybe you just need some little inspiration about kind of where to focus your energies, okay? It's a beautiful deck and I can't wait to show it to you all. Okay. Ooh, okay, Lynn H. Your card is the collaboration of souls. So in your future, a good idea right now, I see, is for you to start doing some collaborations, some joint ventures with people, maybe even some webinars or some trainings, workshops where you're actually getting with other people, and even maybe doing some like joint marketing type of situations. Oh, Maria. Collaboration of souls. Very nice card to get. Okay, Tammy. Look at the backs too. Can you see them? They're white with gold. Super pretty. Tammy, your card is the now. Okay, so maybe perhaps your intuition, your mentality, your mindset has been really focused about like where you're going, and you're really focused on the end game, but right now would be the best time to work in the moment. So what can you do right now to take one step forward to where you ultimately want to be that is small enough, is a small enough step that you can accomplish right now, but will align you with the energy of where you want to go. Beautiful card. Leonie. You're welcome, Lynn. I love it because it's like watercolor. Watercolor is really in right now. Watercolor's been in for a couple years right now, but it's like super trendy right now. Everybody went through that phase like 2 years ago where they just did like all watercolor on their websites and stuff. I still like it. It's very feminine and dreamy. Leonie. Ooh, Leonie, your card is accept and receive. So the more that you accept with yourself and others, the more you ultimately receive. And it's about finding that balance between giving and receiving. Very nice card. Very good energy to it. Susan Moore. And the edges are gilded gold. You're welcome, Tammy. And I like that these aren't like overcomplicated. That's what really stands out for me with this deck, is that sometimes, you know, we get so like into the symbols and we get so into like the different systems and the symbology and symbolism and stuff. But what I really like about these cards is that they're just simple little things that aren't overcomplicated. And it almost makes it like, yeah, I can do that, right? Just a simple little thing, sure. Ooh, Susan, your card is Find Your Sacred Flow. And I think you have been working on that. We're going to meet next Wednesday. I'm so excited to help you get into this flow, because when you find your flow, finding your flow means you found your inspiration. And I think you have. So I'm really excited to start working with you next Wednesday to start getting some content planned out and stuff and help you get into your flow. Kimberly, you want a card? Okay. Very nice card. Okay. I love that. So me right now. Thank you, Christina. Loney says, you are welcome. Susan says, ah, yes. Yes. Okay, Pamela, you are up next. And I hope if you're leaving the stream right now, you've gotten your card. I really hope you have a great rest of your Friday. I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope you do something extra special for yourself tonight on the full moon. I think I'm going to take a mermaid bath. What that is, I just put crystals and herbs and stuff in the bath. Pamela, no surprise here, dear. You are epic. We already know that. We already know how epic you are, and you shared part of your story in the masterclass group and some other groups too. And I think it's just time that you start realizing how knowledgeable you are, how much, you know, how epic you are, how awesome you are. I think you have a lot of wisdom to share, and I seriously cannot wait to see you start like showing up more so I can learn more from you. So that card is just a reminder that you are epic. Susan says she's doing a release ceremony tonight. Wonderful. Wonderful. Stephanie H. Freya says, love bombs. Pamela says, haha, thank you, but you already knew that. As if you need another sign. All right, Stephanie H. Ooh, this is number 8, so this is based off of strength. It says fierce serenity. That is a really, really great card. It's about settling into your compassion, but also using your compassion as a force for good, and almost using like your compassion as a way, as a badge of honor in a way. It's how to step into your power. Not all warriors are, you know, they pick up the shield and the sword. Not all warriors fight, but some warriors are just strong in their compassion and their ability to handle how you can handle crisis in the moment. So step into your fierce serenity, Miss Stephanie. Well, hey, Jennifer. I want to write Jennifer's name. Freya, you are up next. It's been really good. I've been pulling one of these cards like every morning for me. And sometimes, if you're in the masterclass and you've learned about the long post and short post and things like that in Module 18, social media strategies, What I've been doing with this deck is I'll pull like a couple cards and then I'll just sit in meditation and let it inspire my long post for the day. It's been great. Pamela, you said you've been starting to put reminders in your phone that says people are waiting to hear about you. I don't really know why though. I think I'm boring. You're not boring. You're the host of a radio show. How can that be boring? Freya. Ooh. Successive, which is like success, and then IVE, transformation. So this means that whatever you're going through right now, it's building upon the next level. So I know I have a little bit of personal information from you because you're my assistant and you're in the masterclass and we talk a lot, but also the fact that I know you're not exactly doing what it is you really want to be doing right now, but this is just like helping you build up to where you eventually really end up wanting to be. It's like it's all experience that is all culminating towards that final place where you can get to a point where you're secure and stable and you have the foundation to support bringing out your Munakai course. So maybe it doesn't feel like things are happening right now, and maybe it feels like you're kind of burning your wheels and the wheels are just kind of churning, but it's all leading somewhere. It's all leading somewhere successively. You're welcome, Tammy. I hope you have a really great evening, and I hope you have a great weekend and a really great full moon. Faith. It's also nice to just kind of watch the colors as you shuffle. It's almost meditative in a way. Faith, fall in love with your own story. I think this is really important for you because you do copywriting and you also set up the bots, which you have to, almost like you have to create a story for the bots themselves, and it takes on a life of its own. So this card is telling you not only fall in love with your creations, your creative writing, your creative stories, but also to fall in love with your own story. Lynn, this is called the Sacred Creators. I'm going to give you the link, okay? There you go. Very nice card to get. Taylor P. is up next. Freya says, I'm going to keep showing up. Thank you. Yeah, you're doing great. I know it doesn't really feel like things are happening, but they really are. It's happening more on an internal level. You know what I mean? You're welcome, Lynn. I'm on Victoria, right? Victoria? Ooh. Limitations inspire innovations. So where have you been limited, or where do you see a limitation? That's where your inspiration is. That's where you write about. That's where you are that person that says, actually, yes, you can, and here's how you're going to do it. Very good card to get. Limitations inspire innovations. Very nice. If I skip someone, it's not intentionally. Just tell me that I've skipped you. Lynn S. Lynn Smith. Faith says, thanks, Christina. Quick, I just had a new copywriting client hire me last night, so the message showed up with great timing. Awesome. I won't lie, I got a little excited when I saw that card come up. Lynn S. Ooh, this is one of my favorite ones in here. It says, light in the unexpected. It's a beautiful card. So, in my opinion, this card is kind of like, how can you change your perspective, and how can you see the light in some of these dark things that you have around you, and how can you be that light for other people? It's a beautiful card. Light in the unexpected. It could also mean potentially that although maybe some things are happening to you that are kind of coming out of left field or unexpected, there's always that silver lining, and it's always so difficult to align with that in the moment because, things happen. But also, you can turn any situation into a positive, just depends on how you want to look at it and how you want to view it in terms of your entire life story. It makes a really good chapter in your book, in your life story. Pamela. Okay, I didn't actually have you down, so I'll get you here in just a moment, okay? Pamela Theus. How do you pronounce your last name? Is it Theis or is it Theus? Okay, this card is for Maria. Sometimes when I'm doing live streams, sometimes all the comments don't show up because if comments come in, what happens is Facebook has like a spam filter, and if comments come in too quickly to one another, it automatically like kicks some of the comments out. So if you put your name in and I haven't called you or mentioned your name on the list, that's why. Because Facebook. Lynn says, I really needed to hear this. I've had a tough last few weeks. Oh, I'm so sorry, love. Maria, changes. Yes. Yes, changes. You know what that's talking about. But changes are in store for you. This is the wheel of fortune, my friend. Your time is now. Things are on the up. Things are going to be changing in a really big way. How things have been, they're going to get better. Tice. Thank you. Pamela. Pamela Tice. Trying to anchor that in my brain. Tice, Tice, Tice. Pamela Tice is nice. Pamela Tice is nice. Maria says, yes, I know. All right, Pamela Tice is nice. Let's see what your card is. Ooh, this is a biggie. Bravely market your magic. Okay, so this is about you stepping into and fully owning your psychic powers. This is about you coming out as an intuitive. This is about you fully accepting your gifts and using that in your marketing and fully owning that. And that is like becoming a selling point for you in whatever services that you're selling or you're offering to people. Start bravely marketing your magic in with that, because that is going to be a huge selling point for you. And it has a lot to do with building up your confidence too, is what I'm hearing. That could be from your guides, that could be from angels. You're welcome. You're welcome, Pamela. Tice is nice. Kimberly, are you still here? We have Kimberly and Jennifer. Okay, Kimberly's here. All right, my dear. Ooh, I know you're an artist. And this is the Empress. This is inspired by the Empress. This is called You, the Muse, which is beautiful because that means that you have so many experiences in your life. You have so much beauty surrounding you that you have an endless inspiration to be your own muse for your own creations. That's beautiful. And the Empress is naturally abundant and fertile and all of those warm, good feelings. It's a beautiful card. Faye says, so many great messages for us all. These cards are really simple but beautiful and profound. I know, right? That's what I really like about them. I really like their simplicity, but I really like that it's very easy to go into your day with these messages and be able to incorporate that. You know, just one small little step. That's really all it takes, folks. You know, it just takes one small step every single day. Move one small rock every day, and eventually you move mountains. Jennifer P. You're welcome, Kimberly. That's a beautiful card for you. I know you've been really like immersed in artistry now for a couple weeks. I've been stalking you, lovingly stalking you on your timeline. And you've been doing some really cool artistry type of things. So that's a great card for you to get. So the divine feminine. You're in your femininity, which is beautiful. Jennifer P. This is so you, okay? This is 21, which is, I think, the world. I think the world, based off the world. Yeah. Fill your cup with sacred giggles. So where can you have more fun? Where you find the fun, where you find your inspiration. Where you find the humor is where you find your inspiration. It says, fill your cup with sacred giggles. Have more fun. Fun is a cornerstone. Feeling good is a cornerstone of your mission and your message. It's a beautiful card. Okay, did anybody not get a card that wants one? I'll give everybody just a moment. Maria says, thank you, Freya and Freya. Her patron. Kimberly says, sacred giggles. That's so cute. It is. Laughter yoga. You know? I don't know if you've ever done laughter yoga before, but that's kind of what it made me think of. I know, right? That's awesome. Freya says, sacred giggles. That's awesome. Okay, have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Have a great full moon. I will see you in the Facebook group, and make sure, last but not least, one more time, third time's the charm. Make sure you sign up for this challenge. It's the end of the month. We're going to be talking about financial fears, and we're going to be talking all about money and all of that kind of stuff. So I will see you. I'll see you next week. Bye.